Happy Thursday morning to you. Welcome into another edition of Morning JOX here on JOX 94.5. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you for the next hour. Getting you set for day 3 of the SEC baseball tournament there in Hoover, Alabama. Had some excitement all around. We had some excitement in Hoover. We had some excitement for those of you that watched the NBA playoff game last night. A lot of excitement to be had there as well. We have a college football coach who made a joke, and that is being taken out of context as people are now going ahead and writing up their 40-team college football playoff matchups. So we can dive into that a little bit as well. We had an MVP named in the NBA as well. But unfortunately, we will start off with some sad news that we had in the sports world yesterday. If you missed it, definitely came as a shock to me and to everyone else. But that was Colts owner Jim Irsay, who unfortunately passed away yesterday at the age of 65. He passed away in his sleep with his, with family members by his side. So the way that, as sad as it is, I think the way that most of us would hopefully like to be able to go out one day. But some very sad news certainly there in Indianapolis. It has been stated that his daughter, Carly Irsay Gordon, will be the one who will take over at least many of his duties there with the Indianapolis Colts. So the organization will stay within the family as he is survived by three of his children. But yeah, just some very sad news yesterday as Colts owner and CEO Jim Irsay passes away yesterday at the age of 65. But we did have a big day yesterday in Hoover. No rain delays, so that should hopefully make some people happy. You did have, of course, the schedule getting shifted around because of what did happen on Tuesday with the rain delay there for Texas A&M and Mississippi State. And I guess the extra rest did some good for the Aggies. So credit where credit is due. Because Texas A&M fighting for their life, any possible hope they may have of getting into the postseason. They stayed alive for one more day yesterday as they absolutely crushed Mississippi State 9-zip. So they had a grand slam early on in that one, and at that point it was 6-0, and you kind of just saw the writing on the wall at that point that it was going to be a long day for the Bulldogs, and it absolutely was. So Texas A&M, they go out there and make an absolute statement yesterday. With their 9-0 win. And in return, what do they get, Damian? They get a trip with the Auburn Tigers today. So Auburn, they're getting underway with their first game of the tournament. They were supposed to be the late game last night, which that game didn't end until midnight. So I think some people are probably happy that was not Auburn, Damian. But they will be playing at 11 a.m. So some excitement this morning, and we'll have live updates for you, of course, on three-man front as that game will be underway during our show a little bit later on. But so Texas A&M, they advance 9-0 over Mississippi State. You had Alabama and Tennessee. That was the next game up yesterday, and it was certainly entertaining.
Oh, 1,000%.
So I was on the golf course during the later parts of this game, but early on, it was Tennessee getting a little something going early. Alabama, they went 3 up, 3 down the first couple of innings, wasn't looking great. Then you have kind of a breakthrough inning there in the fourth for Alabama. Tennessee has a bad error from Curley. That leads to a couple more runs coming in, and Alabama actually took a 5-4 lead in the fifth inning after starting their scoring there in the fourth. So it was 5-4 Alabama, 6-5 Alabama. And then Tennessee from that point on, they just kind of added on. They made it 15-6 after that. So that was a little bit of rough going there. Alabama, they claw back a little bit in the ninth. They score 5 runs there in the ninth inning to make it 15-10. So it looks a little better than it really was, Damian, but not the best day for the Crimson Tide as they are eliminated because, again, this is all single elimination. So Texas will face Tennessee today. That is who they will get in their first matchup, the SEC regular season champions. And Alabama finds themselves going home. They will most likely not be hosting a regional now, and based on some projections we saw earlier in the week, looks like they might be heading to Clemson.
Yeah, and the best thing for them is, not all hope is lost. You're still playing post SEC tournament, and kind of we got the SEC network on in here, and at this moment right now, from yesterday, it's 5-2, and you're thinking, oh yeah, Alabama can keep, as long as they keep it within the window, and then there's a couple innings will happen and Tennessee will take off. But I think that one of the things about the SEC tournament, especially because it's very similar to football, where there's so much talent that happens that it doesn't really feel like an upset. It doesn't really feel like, if you're Alabama, the goals of potentially, going further in the College World Series are still there. Yeah, it stings a little bit, but you're going against the defending national champions in Tennessee. So, and it's not like Tennessee's road gets any easier because they follow it up with Texas today, the regular season champs for the SEC. So altogether, it's very similar to how the SEC just operates. Of there's some heavy hitters in here, and you just got to be better than that team that day. And Alabama wasn't better than Tennessee for a couple innings, and they end up, having an early exit. So it just comes with it.
Yeah, it certainly does, unfortunately. So, the season or the tournament run ends there for Alabama. They will move on, continue playing the postseason, and hopefully able to shake this one off and get back to their winning ways in whatever regional they end up traveling to. So you did have a couple more games on the docket last night. You had a great one between Oklahoma and Georgia. So the Sooners actually pulling off a bit of an upset there yesterday in their tournament appearance against the Georgia Bulldogs. So Georgia, by a lot of metrics and a lot of places, one of the top 5 teams in the country. And Oklahoma takes care of business. Witherspoon, a big day there for the Sooners. He goes 7 2/3, only gives up 2 earned runs, strikes out 8, but 0 walks for Oklahoma yesterday. So Witherspoon was absolutely sensational. They're able to pull off the upset there over the Georgia Bulldogs. And now Oklahoma has advanced, and they will take on the Vanderbilt Commodores coming up today as well. And then finally, in the nightcap last night, you had another really good game as you had Florida taking on Ole Miss. And Ole Miss gets the 3-1 victory over the Gators yesterday. So Florida, who had been one of the hottest teams in the entire country coming in to Hoover, unfortunately, they have a rather short stay as they are knocked out by the Ole Miss Rebels. But Hunter Elliott, 5 1/3, 2 hits, no earned runs, gives up one run on an error, but no earned runs given up, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk for the Rebels yesterday. So he was absolutely sensational for them. And again, I know a lot of you probably didn't stay up to finish it. I'll be honest, I did not either. At about the 6th or 7th inning, I tapped out and said, yeah, I got to go to bed. Got to get some sleep.
We'll see what the results are in the morning.
Exactly. But yeah, like I said, Damien, this one did not end until midnight. So, yeah.
I think pushing everything back, in the end, it made the difference.
It did make a difference. And I think that, again, yesterday it was great having and the fact that today you get an extra game than what you were initially planning on having, right? You thought you were going to have 2 games today. Now you have 3. So that part of it certainly benefits. But, I know there's going to be a lot of tired Ole Miss fans there today that stuck around here in Hoover. But that does set us up. So as we said earlier, Auburn, they'll get things going for you in a little under 5 hours at 11 a.m. That'll be first pitch for them as they take on Texas A&M. Then following that, you're going to have roughly 3 o'clock first pitch between Texas and Tennessee. So Texas, the SEC regular season champions, and they will take on Tennessee. And then the third game, the night game tonight at roughly 30 minutes after that game ends, whenever that happens, you're going to have Vanderbilt in Oklahoma. That's going to be your nightcap. And then tomorrow you are going to have Arkansas and Ole Miss. They're going to lead things off at 3 p.m. there on Friday. And then following that game, you're going to have LSU versus the winner of Auburn and Texas A&M. So that's what's going on in Hoover. A great week so far. Great attendance yesterday. The Texas A&M and Mississippi State game actually outdrew the Alabama-Missouri game from day one, which they were both played at 9:30 in the morning. And so to see them outdraw a home state team here was impressive. And if you saw the crowd, certainly during the Alabama and Tennessee game yesterday, it looked about jam-packed. So I know a lot of you have been able to get out there, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to get out there. I know I will be out there this afternoon alongside Pat Smith, and we're going to be out there catching some action. I know some other people may be joining us as well, and hopefully that includes some of you. So, going to take a quick break. We do have our Mount Rushmore coming up for today. Speaking of the Missouri Tigers, yeah, Damien, this one was...
No.
No offense to any Missouri fans out there. This one was a little bit of a challenge, and I enjoy that, kind of. But yeah, this one was a little tougher. I'll go ahead and say I think for Friday we're gonna have a little fun. We'll do the Georgia Bulldogs.
Okay.
So we'll do Georgia tomorrow. That one will be a lot more difficult for a different reason, because there'll be a lot of options. Whereas for Missouri, it's like, man, we are really making some concessions here for some of these players. So I'll be honest, I got 3, and then I had, I don't know, I kind of just randomly picked a 4th one because I had a group of people, and I said, we'll go with this one. And I'll tell you why that was. But yeah, not the easiest task that we've had so far doing this series, not. Damien. But yeah, so we will do the Missouri Tigers Mount Rushmore coming up a little later in the show. If you want to chime in, send in yours, 205-834-9450. We would love to have you. We will read those texts a little bit later. We'll share ours as well. But when we come back, have to talk about a comment made by a college football coach, and a fairly prominent one, that was taken out of context yesterday. But there's going to be a little fun experiment that can go along with this. So what would a 40-team college football playoff look like? I think that'll be fun. We'll dive into that. We've got the Braves. They were postponed. We'll tell you when they're going to make up their doubleheader as well. All of that, Mount Rushmore for Missouri coming up as well on the other side here of Morning JOX and JOX 94.5. .616, welcome back in. Thursday edition of Morning JOX here.
You're not familiar with this?
I am not.
You're a real Disney Channel kid, man.
I was about to say, I don't even know where.
Starstruck.
Yeah, by Corbin Blue or something?
Well, Christopher Wilde. Well, Sterling Knight from, that's the actor's name. I don't know if you've seen Sonny with a Chance.
No. Did not see that one. Did not see that one.
Okay, yeah. You grew up fast.
You
grew up fast. You're already listening.
I was mature for my age, Damien.
Yeah.
What can I say?
About 10 years old.
Once Zach and Cody went on the cruise ship, that's about when I
got you.
That's when I was done with all that. So, welcome back in. If you didn't know what that was either, well, good. Don't feel bad. I'm 29, and I didn't know what it was either, so we will just let Damien have that.
Our childhood was precious.
We'll just let Damien have that one.
Appreciate it.
But appreciate you tuning in this morning. If you're just now joining us, we are going to do our next Mount Rushmore coming up a little bit later. We're going to do the Missouri Tigers, and based on the text line and some of the comments we've had coming in, and let's just be honest, the fact we're not getting quite as many lists as we normally have, we've had some people saying, yeah, this is some of these not like the other ones that we've done so far. So, yeah, I get it. It's a little difficult, or maybe more difficult than some of these other teams that we've done, but you still have plenty of time, 205-834-9450, if you do want to be a part of that conversation. But before we get to all that, let's tell you what else was going on around the world of sports. So quickly last night, in the world of basketball, you did have an MVP named as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the leading scorer in the NBA this year, averaged over 32 points a game. He wins his first MVP award, so he beats out Jokic, who is going for his 4th MVP in 5 years, which is absolutely insane. But Shai, he gets it last night. He was the runner-up last season when Jokic won it again. So a little bit of a flip-flop there in the voting. Giannis, he came in 3rd, and Shai becomes the 3rd Oklahoma City Thunder member to win the MVP, following in the footsteps of Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, of course. So big night there for Shai. His Oklahoma City Thunder also took the first game of their series against the Timberwolves the other night, so they're up 1-0 in the Western Conference Finals. And last night you had game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And again, if you missed this game last night, these are the moments where, you know, in NBA playoff basketball really pops off. What a game you had last night. Indiana, they squeak by the Knicks 138-135 in overtime. The Knicks were up by 9 with 52 seconds left in regulation. The Pacers able to come back. Tyrese Halliburton hits just a bounce from the heavens right off the back iron, goes a mile into the air, goes right back down into the bucket. as time expires to tie it, and that sent the game to overtime. And ultimately, the Pacers able to get it done there. You even had Tyrese Halliburton running over and literally holding his neck, doing the choking symbol in the game, during the game to the Knicks. Like this happened in live basketball. And then at the very end of the game, there's 0.2 seconds left. Tyrese Halliburton hands the ball to Karl Anthony Towns, like to inbound it. He literally hands it, like the most disrespectful thing. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Me too.
I thought it was hilarious. But the most disrespectful thing you could do in that situation of you literally don't have enough time to get a shot off, so we're not even going to inbounds it. Here you go.
Right. And when Stan Van Gundy said it on the broadcast, he was like, if I'm Tyrese, if whoever I'm an inbounder, I'm just going to hand it to Karl Anthony Towns because physically you don't have the ability to, catch and shoot.
Because there's only 0.2 seconds. You need
right.
0.3, yeah.
And Reggie Miller was like, man, how big of a fire do you want this to be, man? That's disrespectful. And sure enough, that's exactly what he did. But Tyrese Halliburton, and I agree with the NBA players. They said that he was one of the most overrated players in the league. All he's done since he's gotten that information is absolutely ball out. And I got to give him his flowers because I think he's good. I really do think he's good, but I just didn't put him in the great category.
Yeah.
At least not yet. There's a lot of other things. Like I don't like his shooting motion. He's very unorthodox when he shoots the ball, but all he's been able to do really for Indiana is really put them on a scale that I've never seen for real. At least not this consistently. And I mean, Rick Carlisle, you forget. I mean, he's won a national championship. He's won the NBA finals back in Dallas, and he knows what it looks like. He knows what winning basketball looks like. And with some of the collection of talent that he has, I'm trying to figure out how the Knicks blew this at the end. Because Jalen Brunson gives you 40, Cat gives you 30 and 10. It's okay. Your superstars are doing what they need to do. Your role players. It's missed free throws in clutch situations. OG Anunoby left some change out there. That's what made Tyrese Halliburton go up there. And then he had a clear lane to get a layup, dribbles it back out to the 3-point line. Just because his foot was on the line is the only reason why it only counted for 2 and they went to overtime instead of the Pacers winning by 1. But if game 1 is going to be anything like this series is going to be, this is the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be the best series that we have.
Yeah, it should be absolutely electric. So Pacers take a 1-0 lead there on the Knicks last night. How about Major League Baseball quickly? You had the Braves and Nationals. That game got postponed last night. They're going to make it up on September 16th, but you will have the Braves back in action tonight. 5:45 first pitch there against the Nationals as well. So they get the day off. They'll make that up in September. And quickly, just running down the standings for you, you have Philadelphia. They are now in first place in the National League East. The Mets, they're a game and a half back of Philadelphia now. Atlanta, 6.5 back of the Phillies. So that's where things currently stand with the Braves, who are 24-24 on the season. All right, teased this a little bit earlier. But if you missed this and this was going around social media a lot last night, but Matt Rule, the head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, he was doing, I believe it was a podcast with some Nebraska people, and it was a Nebraska podcast. But he was tongue-in-cheek. He was asked about the college football playoff expansion. And so during this podcast, he makes, jokingly again, he says, quote, "The more spots, the better, man. Let's make that thing 40 and let's go." And so everybody started to take that, oh, well, he just wants it to be 40 so Nebraska can actually get in. The jokes kind of write themselves, right? But what a lot of people seem to be missing was because you just had the quote that was going around for a while before the actual audio of the podcast came out. And so you had people thinking he was serious about this, right? And taking this seriously, which we now know was a tongue-in-cheek kind of a comment. But you had some people at On3 Sports and I saw some others, but at On3, they decided to go out there and make, hey, what would a 40-team college football playoff have looked like last year if Matt Rule had his way, right? And, I mean, you're looking at, let's see, some of these are some of the first-round matchups that you would have had last year based on the rankings, right? Let's see, you would have had Vanderbilt and Iowa State in a college football playoff. You would have had Auburn and Arkansas playing each other in a college
The
football
whole
playoff.
9 games out of 10, we would have got the rematch.
That's right. Let's see. You would have had Minnesota and Virginia Tech.
Probably could have, had that one at 11 o'clock.
You would have had Kansas and Tulane. That would have been another matchup you would have gotten. Let's see. You would have had... So Auburn would have played Arkansas, and then if they had won, they would have advanced to play Texas. That would have been their next matchup there. You would have had Alabama, who, how funny is this? They would have been awaiting the winner of Michigan and Baylor. So we might have gotten Alabama, Michigan regardless. Let's see. You would have had Missouri and SMU. You would have had Ole Miss. They would have played the winner of Virginia Tech and Minnesota, Colorado and Indiana. A rematch of South Carolina and LSU. I think we all would have signed up for that.
1,000%.
Florida versus Clemson.
Okay.
Let's see. TCU and Oklahoma. TCU would have gotten back in. Oklahoma, even with the season they had, would have found a way to get into the playoff.
An old Big 12 matchup.
That's absolutely right. So it's just kind of fascinating to go through, and certainly you can tell within 10 seconds of looking at this that we do not need to go to a 40-team playoff because none of these teams needed to be in there. We just don't need that in the sport. But I just thought it was funny because, again, you had a comment that very quickly the just written quote of it got taken out of context, spread like wildfire, and then once the actual audio comes out, we start to realize, oh, yeah, okay, he was just messing around, like, he's having fun with the situation, right? Because we all kind of understand how much of a joke just everything that goes on with the NCAA is and the way that all of this works and trying to expand the playoff every 2 years and then whatnot.
Think of, I'm looking at it as well. Talk about a contrast of styles. The Miami versus Iowa matchup.
Oh, that would have been. Don't think that would have gone super well for Iowa. Just being honest there, but yeah, I mean, you would have gotten some interesting stuff. I mean, USC, Texas A&M,
we saw that bowl game.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. So yeah, just an interesting look at what that would have possibly look like. So you can find that at On 3 Sports on Twitter if you want to go and look at it for yourself and break down the whole thing and fill it out like it's March Madness. But yeah, 40 teams, definitely not. 16, okay, I can wrap my head around it. Let's go ahead and get it done so we can stop talking about it for a few years. But yeah, 40, certainly a few too many there. So we still have our Missouri Mount Rushmore to get to. We're going to take a quick break, come back on the other side. I'll share mine. Damian will share his. Yours still coming in, 205-834-9450. Again, I know it's been a little difficult, as our listeners are letting us know this morning, but hey, we're going to get through it together. The 4 greatest players in Missouri football history. We'll share ours and get your feedback here on the other side of Morning Jocks and Jocks 94.5. .632 here on Morning Jocks. Appreciate you joining us this Thursday morning. We got the Memorial Day weekend coming up, so hope everyone has big plans coming up this weekend. One more day, everybody. We can do it. Tomorrow is Friday, and then we all get that nice 3-day weekend. I know many of us are looking forward to it. I know a lot of you are going to be out there in Hoover all weekend long at the SEC baseball tournament, but a lot of you probably making your first trek down to the beach this summer. A lot of you going to the lake, so a lot to look forward to this weekend. But a quick reminder for you, coming up at 11 a.m. there in Hoover, you're going to have the Auburn Tigers as they will take on Texas A&M. So that will be the first game of action here today, the first game for the Auburn Tigers here of the SEC baseball tournament. And they are one of those programs that is expected to host a regional or at least be in strong contention to do so. And so certainly a win today would only further cement that. So big opportunity for Auburn coming up here at 11 a.m. All right, a little bit of other news we have to get to on the Alabama side of things really quickly was yesterday when it was announced that Nate Oates had hired a new assistant coach there for Alabama basketball. He had one spot to fill, and he did so by hiring Portland Trailblazers assistant Chris Fleming. So he has a long history of coaching overseas. He coached the German national team for quite some time and now has spent the last number of years in the NBA with the Nuggets, Bulls, Nets, and Trailblazers. So he now joins Nate Oates' staff there in Tuscaloosa. So just if you're keeping tabs, the last 3 coaches that Nate Oates has hired have all come from the NBA. So he seems to have a certainly have a pretty solid pipeline there when it comes to filling out his coaching staff. So that's a little bit of housekeeping there for you, but now it is time, as we do each and every morning here on the show, to get to our daily Mount Rushmore. And today we're doing the Missouri Tigers. So if you've been listening to the show this morning, you can tell that it was maybe a little more difficult than some of these other ones that we've done. But hey, that's all right. We're going to give it the good old college try, just like the other 16 program or other 15 programs. So I'll start off with Missouri. And I know there's a couple I think a lot of people will have, but maybe there's going to be a little bit of variation here. So we'll see. But at the top of my list is Chase Daniel. Former quarterback there for Missouri. He was absolutely incredible there in the mid-2000s. He threw for 3,500 or more yards 3 straight seasons, threw for over 100 total touchdowns in his career. So, yeah, no-brainer for me. The best quarterback in Missouri history, Chase Daniel, goes on the list. At wide receiver, you did have a few options. I went Jeremy Maclin, though. I just remember watching him and how electric he was. Luther Burden, I think if he had a better year this year, would have certainly been in consideration. But I went Jeremy Maclin. I also went with Brad Smith, who's another quarterback there for Missouri. He's actually the all-time leading rusher in Missouri football history. So I put him on my list. And then I went Shane Ray for a defender. Felt like there were a couple options there. Alden Smith was one I considered heavily as well, but ultimately I went with Shane Ray. So my honorable mentions, Alden Smith, Larry Roundtree. I threw Drew Lock on there as well. But that's my Mount Rushmore for Missouri. Chase Daniel, Jeremy Maclin, Brad Smith, and Shane Ray. So now, Damian, you are on the clock.
I thought that we were going to have a little bit of a separation, but we ended up with the exact same Mount Rushmore. I have Chase Daniel, Jeremy Maclin, Brad Smith, and also Shane Ray. Shane Ray, Defensive Player of the Year in the SEC in 2014. Honorable mention, I have Drew Lock, Blaine Gabbert, former Tennessee Titan at one point in time in his career. And also, I have Dorial Green Beckham, even though he was only there for a short amount of time. When we talk about overall impact as far as the receiver position, he was a big dog. But, yeah, Missouri's history is a little complicated, to say the least. They've done a lot in the more recent years. Cody Schrader, I think, is one guy that could possibly find his way into he had a strong consideration, but his time there in Missouri was very short-lived. But I think when you look at Missouri, they are, we'll just say limited, to say the least. So 205-834-9450. We got some of your text messages coming in as far as your Missouri Mount Rushmore. From Cliff, he has Kellen Winslow, senior for sure. Chase Daniel, Dorial Green Beckham, and Drew Lock. Brandon texted in. He has Chase Daniel, Jeremy Maclin, Brad Smith, Kellen Winslow Sr. Honorable mentions are Blaine Gabbert, Alden Smith, and Michael Sam. And yes, Michael Sam was a football player, 1,000%. He was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Now, some other things off the field, do what you need to do, brother. That's all you. Nick texted in. He has Missouri's Mount Rushmore. He has Kellen Winslow, Jeremy Maclin, Blaine Gabbert, and Drew Lock. With honorable mention, Justin Britt, former Tennessee Titan, and Chase Daniel. He has Chase Daniel in the honorable mention category.
That's a little surprising.
Right.
I thought that was the one that
would have been the lock.
Everyone would have probably, yeah.
Yeah, somebody else, Thomas takes in. He has Chase Daniel. He has Luther Burden III in his Mount Rushmore. Brady Cook and Michael Sam. Brady Cook,
yeah,
that's okay. Acceptable. I understand when you look at statistics, but I don't think
Brady went to the hospital and came back and played, Damian.
Congratulations. But I don't think he can sniff Blaine Gabbert, Drew Lock, or Chase Daniel. Or even James Franklin.
That was one, I'll be honest, I'd forgotten about that one.
The only reason I remember is when they played Auburn in the SEC title game, he was just kind of, he did everything he possibly could.
Yeah,
yeah. He just ran across that Auburn team and was like, nah, we ain't beating this squad.
No, not quite. But yeah, that's and that's the thing with Missouri, man, is there's a lot of players. Well, first off, a lot of them I feel like are in the last 15 to 20 years when it comes to the players that would be in consideration, I guess. And then you go and you look like, for me, for example, with Shane Ray, he had a lot of his production in 1 year. He won SEC Defensive Player of the Year. It's like, okay, well, that's again, I guess I like to look for longevity or somebody that,
Right.
you had 3 or 4 years of, or maybe 2 years of stellar production, but some concessions had to be made, I guess, when it came to kind of cutting down who was going to make the list and who wasn't. So, yeah.
Yeah, like it's their sample sizes. I mean, when you think of Missouri football, really and truly, they haven't been relevant until these past 10 to 15 years. And it's because of some of the players they've had in these past 10 to 15 years. So you kind of just working with what you got. Like, you had Chase Daniel for a while, and then after that, it's, okay, maybe here and there. And I agree with you with Luther Burden. It's his talent, you can't
deny.
Can't deny
I mean,
it.
I think he's the highest rated player they've ever had.
Right. And it's just the production when he got on the field, especially last season. It's, man, he could have gone for 1,000 yards. He was a lock to be a first-round pick. And, he goes out there and it happens. But he also had Brady Cook as his quarterback, too. No offense to Brady, but, yeah.
Now put him in that Chase Daniel offense back in the
2000s. My gosh.
Watch out. But, I was told he doesn't love football, though. That's why he fell to the second round of the draft, right?
Well, he's getting paid for it now, so.
Yeah, he
has to at least like it.
Yeah, he absolutely is. All right, well, you can keep sending yours in, 205-834-9450. That'll get you on the text line. You want to send in your Mount Rushmore for the Missouri Tigers. Again, tomorrow we're going to do the Georgia Bulldogs, so you have that to look forward to as well. But want to spend a little more time with Missouri. We will get your thoughts, more of your Mount Rushmores on the other side here on Morning Jocks and Jocks 94.5.
.646 here on Morning Jocks, Jocks 94.5. Damian Mitchell, Conrad Van Order. I don't know what's going to be harder. You trying to figure out 4 guys put on Mount Rushmore for Missouri, or you get my boys at Blue Chew a try. Blue Chew service, it's an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin in chewable form at a fraction of the cost. Let Blue Chew's Blue Chew's tablets are performance enhancement for the bedroom, can help men gain extra confidence when it's time to perform. It's an online prescription service, so you don't have to worry about going to the doctor. No awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy because it ships right to your door in discreet packaging. Let Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. I can hook you up for the free. Go to BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use our promo code JOCKS at checkout. The only thing you have to pay for is $5 shipping charge, and other than that, you go to BlueChew.com, use promo code JOCKS to receive your first month free. And, like I tell you every single day, just chew it and do it.
Not going to lie, I was not totally sure where that went with the way it started, and then 4 guys, and then you're like, oh, okay, this may be Damien. Are we all right?
No, it's just tie in, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
no,
it was because it was difficult to find the 4 faces for the Mount Rushmore, Missouri, and sometimes it's difficult to perform, but Blue Chew is there for you, and you get your first month free if you use your promo code JOCKS at checkout. BlueChew.com.
Thank you, Damien.
Trying to keep the bills paid, baby. Trying to keep the lights on.
I appreciate it. Hey, cheddar makes everything better.
Yes, sir.
Well, Bo in Haleyville, he was having a pretty hard time with his Missouri Mount Rushmore because it's all blank. He said that was easy. He just sent in a blank list of 4. Come on, there's.
You can put Chase Daniel times 4.
I was about to say Chase Daniel times 4. I know there's at least 1 or 2 Missouri players you've enjoyed watching at some point. All right, Eric in Adamsville, he chimes in. He says, sorry, all I've got is quarterbacks. He goes Brad Smith, Drew Lock, Chase Daniel, and Blaine Gabbert.
It's good 4.
Don't have that much of a problem with it. Let's see. We have Joseph. He chimes in. He says Chase Daniel, Kellen Winslow, Jeremy Maclin, and Ziggy Hood. Okay, that's a good one there. Let's see. Jamari from Talladega. He chimes in. He has Shane Ray, Michael Sam, Matty Mock, and Cody Schrader. Cody Schrader, again, one of those, had one really great season.
Yeah.
If he had done that, if he had maybe 2 of those years, I would have maybe put him on the list or considered him. But no, I mean, if that's your guy, that's your guy. He was certainly had a very special season for them. No doubt about it. Let's see. Lewis chimes in. He says he rethought and cleaned. Okay, yeah. Lewis chimes in. He just says this one was not like the others. He's going Chase Daniels, Kellen Winslow, Jeremy Maclin, and how about this? Harrison Mevis, the thicker kicker. He says, giddy up.
Again.
He had that walk-off against Kansas State. That was a fun moment.
He did.
That
was also the same game where Brady Cook was booed in front of his home crowd.
Yes, that is right, because they did not want him to be the starting quarterback. And
nope.
He at least for that year, it ended up working out quite well for him. So they that one turned out okay. Let's see. Somebody chimes in. They ask if you and Bill Belichick maybe advertise for the same client. I don't know.
That's the Carolina Blue Chew.
Yeah, you'll have to ask Jordan about that. Let's say, but the same person, they say on the last day, so I guess, so we're doing Georgia on Friday, and then we have Vanderbilt and Texas are the only two left. So we'll finish up on Wednesday of next week because Monday's Memorial Day. And so after that, they say just do a Mount Rushmore for the entire SEC. Maybe we can do that. That's going to be incredibly difficult, and not in the Missouri sense.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, no, we can do that. We will plan on doing that late next week to kind of put a cap on everything. Let's see. We have Bobby who chimes in. He goes Chase Daniel, Blaine Gabbert, Jeremy Maclin, and Alden Smith. Yeah, Alden Smith, great, and clearly has done quite well for himself at the professional level as well. That was one that I had as an honorable mention. That's a very good one there. Let's see. Will chimes in. He says, yeah, he says that was a close call on the read there, Damian. But he also says, Conrad and Damian, y'all should build your all-time SEC rosters and see who you think would win head-to-head. Okay, that could be fun.
Oh, that'd
be fun. It'd be difficult, but it would be difficult.
Fun. We can make it work.
Yeah.
Because I'm running the air raid. I don't care, what anybody says.
Okay, that's fine.
We're gonna spread you out, and defensively now that's gonna be different.
Just really spreading them out.
Yeah, got to.
Might have something that can help with that. All right, Drew Lock, best quarterback ever at Missouri. That's what somebody just texted in.
Drew Lock?
I mean, he's second in all-time passing yards behind Chase Daniels.
I'd still put Chase ahead of him. No disrespect to Drew. Of course not.
I agree. But, hey, if you like Drew Lock more, that is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Cody says y'all should do a Mount Rushmore of players and coaches for the entire SEC. So maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe on Thursday, Thursday we'll do one, Friday we'll do the other, because we haven't really had any time to talk about coaches. I know some of you have included them, but we tried to stay away from that and just focus on players. But that could be fun to do our Mount Rushmore of SEC coaches as well. Got some people, big fan of your spread them out comment. You're just on a roll this morning.
Yeah.
It's one of those mornings.
It is. It's getting close to a long weekend. Letting the hair down a little bit.
Senioritis, right? Graduation's
exactly.
right here. Yeah, it's senioritis. That's exactly what it is. Dave, all right, he chimes in with his list this morning. He goes Kellen Winslow, Jeremy Maclin, Blaine Gabbert, and Chase Daniels for his Missouri Mount Rushmore. David, let's see. Yeah, David goes Kellen Winslow, James Wilder, Jeremy Maclin, and Blaine Gabbert. That's his Mount Rushmore. Michael goes, no love for the thicker kicker. We did. We actually just had somebody that threw out there. They had Harrison Mevis, who is now, if you didn't know, he is also the Birmingham Stallions kicker right now. So yeah, he's a great player. No doubt about it. Let's see, Cordell from Coleman, he chimes in. He goes, don't forget Matty Mock. Didn't they go to 2 or 3 SEC championships back around 2014 and 2015? They did. They went to back-to-back SEC championships when they joined the league. And they played, if I'm not mistaken, they played Auburn one year and Alabama the other year, and they lost both of them. But that is one of the things that we like to give, the John Max of the world hell about, right? Is, hey, Missouri came in here. They were playing for an SEC championship right away. They played for 2 of them. How many have you played for?
That'd be 0.
Granted, in all fairness, Missouri was in the Eastern Division at a time. This is before Kirby was at Georgia and Florida was struggling. And
it was weaker. Well,
there were some not very competitive SEC championship games for a little while.
For sure.
Yeah. The things going on in the East is a much easier path there. All right, Bobby chimes in. He says, what about a Mount Rushmore of the worst players from the SEC? Oh, man,
It's not even fair.
It's not even fair. I know who'd be on Damian.
Oh, yeah, you already know. He's the leading passer at a school, but he's one of the worst I've seen.
Will Levis?
He's number 2.
You'd have him ahead of, so Will Levis worse than Brock Vandegrift?
Nah. But it ain't like, an arm's length away.
Somebody just chimed in. Somebody said Dak Prescott's the worst SEC player of all time.
Stop, man.
Come on now.
Come on, man. Don't be disrespectful.
I've seen him take a punch. Little blast from the past there, if you remember that one. Joseph says, can Damian give us his Mount Rushmore of all-time SEC wide receivers? Maybe we can do that, yeah.
Like ones that I've seen with my own 2 eyes?
Yeah, something like that.
I can do that.
So we appreciate y'all chiming in. Georgia Mount Rushmore coming up tomorrow, but McElroy and Kublik in the morning, they're next.